live.
Yes, we are live. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to our
DIY live show.
Live show. Yeah, it's another beautiful Saturday here in Lakewood, California, or Northeast Long Beach, or whatever. It's like we're
Lakewood,
right
Long
on the
Beach.
border.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm excited. Actually, it's been a couple weeks since our last installment. And, we had some great conversations, and thank you for all the comments from last time, but we're continuing our journey into the 4 principles of music. Last week was getting in tune with your body, which was awesome. We were talking about rhythm. And today we're going to be talking about discovering your heart song. And I think me and Dave have been talking about this just before this, and discussing it, and we came up with some good stuff. So
it's a lively discussion.
Very lively discussion. So hopefully you guys are here to learn some good stuff, and then also share. Just make sure you. I think this is a great time to ask questions and get part of the conversation. So make sure that you're commenting. That'd be awesome if you have a question. And then I'll just start with this. Basically, all this teaching is based off of this book. I didn't bring it last time, but this is the book. Christine Stevens, and it's Music Medicine. And it's kind of crazy because I was looking at the copyright on this, and it's 2012. And one of the things I was thinking, I was like, why hasn't anybody really brought this out into music? And now we're having this discussion, and it's kind of funny how timing is. And now it's 8 years later, and we're talking about this stuff, and it's pretty rad.
Oh yeah.
And talking to Christine about it earlier late last year, it was just amazing. So I'm excited because this part of it, let me write in this book, they have the melody section, which is medicine of the heart.
Before you read that, just real quick.
Let's
I want to review. Review the 4 principles.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So for anybody that hasn't watched the first show, 4 principles of music are 1, rhythm, 2, melody, 3, harmony, and 4, silence.
Yes.
So that's what we're discussing. So for a couple sessions of this show, we're going to be discussing each one of those topics. So last time we did rhythm, like you mentioned.
Rhythm, yeah.
Today we're going to be doing a melody, which is discovering your heart song.
Discovering your heart song, yes.
And then 3 and 4, we'll do those later.
Yeah.
But these are great topics to talk about as far as the handpan are concerned, because handpan, you traditionally don't read music, right? Most people out there, you don't see somebody playing the handpan on a street with a piece of sheet music in front of them. They're just kind of making it up, right?
Right.
So a lot of you out there that are interested in handpans frequently have the question, how do I figure out how to play a melody? How do I create my own song? That sort of thing. And so that's what we're kind of getting at with all these 4 principles. Each one of these principles really helps you move along in discovering how you can incorporate you as yourself and just your entity, and creating music through the handpan. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that.
Oh, no, absolutely. I kind of rushed into it, and I know there's a lot of new people on, but yeah, that's definitely what we're doing. The 4 principles of music, it started out for me, the question that came was, where does music come from? And then, upon studying it last year and stuff, I found out it comes from each individual. So as a teacher of music, it was what am I teaching? You know what I mean? And it's basically, it's teaching you how to get that music out of you. And these 4 principles, actually, it's amazing because it does a lot of things. 1, it helps you with your, learning the instrument. 2, it's very healing. Everybody knows this, that sound is healing, or music is healing, which is awesome. And then 3, it gives you kind of just a way how to practice your music, and kind of goals, but not really goals. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're just working on your rhythm, you're working on your melody, you're working on harmony, and you're working on silence. And I think that's a lifelong thing as we go along. And what I found just playing the ukulele or any instrument, I will never stop learning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just a lifelong thing. And that's what I love about the 4 principles, because it helps you go, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. And then the next step is actually what we're talking about today is discovering your heart song, which is the melodies. A lot of times, I think I had mentioned it last time, your cells vibrate and you have a song that you want to sing. And it's so crazy to me because like as I sell handpans or talk to our customers here, one of the things in so many words of why they want a handpan is because they want to express themselves. And melody is all about expressing yourselves and finding your song. Like in the 4 principles, I think below there's a link to this 4 principles. I have a sheet on it, and melody, what I put down is once you have the rhythm that we were talking about last time, and if you guys want to like listen and play at the same time, maybe start with the 1, 2, 3, 4. Start with that, because once you are in touch with yourself, then you're going to start to hear your song. And that's where the melodies and the scales come into effect. And you want to learn the language of music, notes, chords, it could be. Dave, actually, if you haven't subscribed to our DIY community, there's some new lessons that are going to be going up this next month, which is pattern playing.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty fun. And you're using shapes to make your melodies, which is so awesome.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, and then basically what you're doing is you're learning how to write your song. Last year I did 100 cover songs on my ukulele, and the biggest thing that it did for me is because I had to rewrite the song. I did this thing. I had to rearrange the song so I knew the song, and then I had to play it one take, right? And then what it did was, after doing 100 songs, I could see the patterns. And then I just go, oh, I like this chord, and I made it so I could play with the handpan, so I go, oh, it has to be D minor. So I just started there, and then I started to write a song, and the lyrics came, and I was just like, wow, and that was awesome. And what I figured, like, at the end of the year, like, actually up until this point, I go, you know what, that was my chorus. You know what I mean? Like, that's my chorus for my life right now, and it's so crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is cool.
Yeah, right.
So finding your song, I think it's very empowering, and it gives you confidence to do a lot of things, which is like super cool. So let me, I'll start with this. Dun, 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 dun. I'll start with the quote, because it's a pretty cool quote.
While he's opening that up, don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to our channel already, check it out. Click the red subscribe button. What do they call it? Subscribe and like? Subscribe and like.
Like,
boom.
no, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. Exactly, yeah.
Smash that like button.
Yeah.
It really does, it does put us on the map, and it does help out with getting the word out. Actually,
That's right.
That's what we want to do, is share music, so that's awesome. So melody, the medicine for the heart. This is in chapter 4 of Music Medicine with Christine Stevens. And I love quotes like this. When you feel down and out, sing a song. It'll make your day. Here's a time to shout, sing a song. It'll make your day. And it's Earth, Wind, and Fire. If you guys haven't heard that song, we were just listening to it.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because, like, melody is your heart song. And actually, I did this the other day. I didn't sing a song, but I played the handpan, and it made me feel really good. So, like, if I was feeling stressed out, I go to play the handpan afterwards. I'm like, yeah. So that's basically what it's talking about. If you're stressed out, sing a song. Yeah. It'll make your day. You know, all that. Yeah. So, but let me start out, too. I'm going to start out with, let's see, the definition of melody. Let's see. Melody is defined as a series of notes that create a sweet arrangement of sound. So let's look at the handpan. Remember the scale that we did last time, or that we always teach? Just the scale alone is a melody, like a bass melody. Okay, and this is where, if you see it that way, then you're going to understand how to create melodies that you want to create, which is going to be really cool. So, and why we say discovering your heart song, because basically, I'll just read from the book. It's all here. Notes open the gateways of your heart. The melody is the spoken song that sings your emotions. It's kind of crazy. Actually, Dave, we were talking about this, like conversations that you have. What were you saying about that?
Oh, just with regard to melodies.
Yeah.
Some people are familiar with, again, reading music or hearing a song on the radio, and they want to try to emulate that song in the handpan.
Yes.
But you can look at melodies in a different way. you can look at them as if you're just having a conversation with somebody.
Oh yeah.
And that I was telling Daniel earlier that's more like what a jazz musician does with another jazz musician. They'll make something up, and it's kind of like a conversation. They play these little melodies or riffs or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And then the other one is listening, and they might pick up on some of that. They might try to emulate it, but it's very similar to a conversation. And nobody ever walks up to a jazz musician and says, "You played your solo wrong." Right?
Right.
It's a solo.
It's a solo, yeah.
You just made it up, and you were having a conversation, a musical conversation. Again, like if I was having a conversation with you after we have a conversation right now, you wouldn't walk up to me, and somebody wouldn't over in the corner be like, "Well, I marked off your conversation by 3 points." Because you didn't really have a good conversation because you didn't use the right words and you were using the word too many times.
Many times, yeah.
Nobody
that's
does
Carrie.
that.
No, that's Carrie.
but what I'm getting
Love
at
you.
is nobody says your conversation was wrong,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's not a right and wrong. So again, when it comes to melodies, I think people need to understand there's a difference between learning a pre-written melody or pre-established melody or song versus creating your heart song,
yes.
right?
No,
which is
it's
more
such
like soloing or more like just being creative as if it's a conversation.
Actually, on that note, it's crazy because now, as I teach, that's what I'm looking for. It's not that I teach the technical side, but then when they do the technical side, there's a point where they get to where it's coming from them, not. They can play the same scale, but now it's coming from them, not the technical side of it, because they've worked it out and now they're just playing. And it's a whole nother story, which is super cool. Yeah. They're playing their song. That's what's happening. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. I love talking to Dave about this because, one is, I said this last time, Dave is musically trained. I'm not. And, the combination of it is just, it's amazing to, go back and forth to see, because I want to learn more about it as I teach, and that's just part of what we do is like sharing and stuff.
The opposite of that for me is really fun working with you because you're opening up conversations and possibilities and ideas that I haven't really even thought through.
Yeah.
So then I start thinking through. I'm like, oh yeah, that's really fascinating, So this is really good for all of us.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it just takes somebody from somewhere else because we've been doing the same thing over and over. Yeah. We think that's how it should be, but I think nowadays we're discovering that there's way more, especially for music. I think there's way more that we have not studied and really looked at it and go, wow, this could be super powerful with everything that we do, which I believe is like super cool. So I'll read a little bit more and then we'll start a little discussion on what I read, I guess. Actually, in the book, I'm just reading like little highlights that I wrote. We all have a unique melody, and I said that before. We all have it. Our individual sound print, the song of who we are, the melodic force that brings our authentic voice to the symphony of life. Wow. Christine's pretty awesome. And then melodies are built from scales. Okay, so that's why you should learn the scale on the handpan. That'd be cool. Melody is the language of the heart that can communicate emotions that words alone cannot say. And, that right there in itself is why I believe a lot of people are doing it. Like I said before, a lot of the customers that come in here will use Cosmo. Cosmo, hopefully you're watching, but he said it straight up. Like, I go, why do you want to play it? He goes, well, I like the sound. They always say that. And then they go, I just kind of want to express myself. And I just go, whoa. And I've heard it from young to old. And they say the same thing. Yeah. It's so crazy. But they don't know why. And now, that's why the four principles are like, oh, I know why. Because you have a song you want to sing. Yeah. Which is awesome. And I think in life, actually, we're always looking for something. You know what I mean? Like, we're looking like, okay, what's next? What am I supposed to do? And the person you're looking for was yourself because it was the music inside of you that's singing and you just wanted to express it. It's really cool. So on that topic, where do melodies come from? I think we had this question. And Dave, it was the language.
Yeah, I was taking it back to language. So, for instance, most people are familiar with written melodies, where, on paper or some kind of song that they heard on the radio. but melody goes back before people were writing.
Yes.
Right?
God.
So, you know, and also this, you know, if you had your mother or somebody like that singing a song to you at night, you know, before bed when you're small or something like that, maybe she was just kind of making something up. Maybe she was singing something that she was taught by her parents, you know, at some point, or he.
Mm-hmm.
And so these melodies kind of go way back in our human history. And so my idea, again, was through vocalization is where our melodies really come from.
Mm.
And so I think I was mentioning to you earlier again, as we were talking about this stuff, if you wanted to, let's say you were frustrated that day and you just went, ah, like that, that's your vocalization that you just had right then might have been like a, ah,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's the beginning of your song.
Yeah.
And then you can play something else after that, right?
Yeah.
But that might be the beginning of a song somehow. Another thing that I've noticed over time is our language, at least in English, and I'm sure there's different variations in different languages, other languages, is, for instance, if you call somebody from a distance, like, Daniel, it's usually a minor third. Daniel.
What?
Daniel.
Oh
right?
my God.
Or Daniel, I need to get your help. Daniel, right?
Wow, Dave, you're going crazy.
Right,
That's
so-
awesome.
So if you start knowing these things, then all of a sudden you can be like writing a song. It's the Daniel song now. Daniel. And it sounds like I'm calling to you, doesn't it?
It does, actually.
So just
Dave.
because we're just using your language and the vocalizations that you're using,
Yeah.
high and low. Another
yeah,
one that would be
Actually, I think
I can't remember, but there's just simple stuff like hey, and that's almost like a octave. Hey.
God, that's
Right?
awesome, Dave.
You can come up with these vocalizations. So if you're ever thinking of like frustration, or if you're thinking happiness, or anything like that, think about how you would emote that with a vocalization. I'm having so much fun today, right? I'm having so much fun today. So it's going way up high, and then it comes back down low. So you might go, fun today, right? Or whatever it is. I'm having so much fun today.
Wow.
So
Dave, you just
the
freaked me out
rhythm
right
of
now.
your speech
I get it.
is,
I
yeah,
get
I
it.
think a really good way of making, creating melodies. You don't even really necessarily need to know what notes you're hitting at that point. You just need to know that it goes from low to high, right? And I think ultimately people pick up on this stuff as they listen to music. They hear it going in these peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
And it becomes like the rhythm of speech. So anyway, there
That's
you go.
no, it's crazy because this is what it says right here. The melody of a language communicates the emotions of the hearts. It's the song in the notes of the language that sing the feelings behind the words. Wow. If you could talk, you could sing.
Yeah. So if you could talk, you could sing. And then actually she mentioned the words. There's the content of the words too, which makes it, so let's say you were singing a melody.
Yeah.
Daniel. Then you might be something like, I feel happy today, right?
Yeah,
So the word
yeah.
happy, all of a sudden it's going to kind of create a different nuance or feeling to that song.
Yeah.
If you said, I'm feeling sad today,
Uh-huh.
that's going to make that song feel different also. So just by using those words, it could be almost the same.
It's hilarious because this
Notes.
is what you're saying right here. It says linguists call this melody of our language prosody.
Okay.
The high and low pitches, the rising and falling of melodic contour that underscores our words.
Yeah.
Wow, that's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
I just go, whoa.
Yeah. So if you, again, we're talking about discovering your own heart song. So if you're feeling passionate about something and you just think about how you would express yourself verbally,
And
or
honestly,
even not verbally, like just gutturally, like some kind of just weird sounds. Like what would be the sound that you would make?
it's
without words?
funny because I teach an 8-year-old, right? And just to keep her attention, I have to come up with all these little things to make her play the handpan, right? And one was, I go, okay, play the handpan with smiling. And she was like,
Ah, nice. Yeah.
she was like, yeah. And then I go, make a frown. And you could hear it. And I go, get mad.
Yeah, right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And I was going through all these emotions, and I was listening to her play, and you could totally feel it. So if you want to try that, try that. You know what I mean? Listen to it, go sad, happy, you know, and you could do all those expressions, but you will hear it in the vibration of the handpan, which is awesome, because I think you're feeling what'll happen. God, this is kind of crazy, actually. As you're feeling it, you're having the note, and it's coming back to you, and it's vibrating you back, and then, oh gosh. Wow, that's so crazy. So, and then it pulls at your heartstrings. Actually, yes. Because I get, like, in ukulele, like, sometimes I'll be so into a song, and then you hit that high point, and sometimes I can't sing it because I'm going to start crying. That's how emotional it'll get. It just goes, and I was like, oh, and I'm trying, like, I can't because I'm about to cry, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I think that's awesome. Yeah. Those melodies will just boop, 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 like that. All the way up. And you're just like, yes. So that's awesome. So cool.
Another thing to think about too with melodies, just in general, since we're talking about melodies, a lot of people think a melody has to be super complicated. Doesn't have to be complicated. Like I just did, Daniel. It's just like four notes.
Still singing it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you guys are all going to be singing that song for like the rest of the day. Daniel. And I just threw that out there, right?
Yeah.
But Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, I believe.
Oh, here we go.
Super simple melody. It's just. Right? He didn't write a big, gigantic jazz solo with all sorts of crazy sharps and flats and all over the place.
It was all that?
It was just it's like 5 notes on the piano keyboard. That's all it is. It's just and just kind of variations on those 5 notes.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe 6. But anyway, you get the idea. So one of the most famous symphonies ever written was basically off of this simple melody. And we just have to remember, again, it's almost like the Daniel thing. That was simple, but it gets in your ear.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
So if you try to get too complicated, unless you want it to be complicated, which is another idea, you can totally get complicated, and it's a different way of listening to it and hearing it. But for those of you who are interested in like learning how to just kind of create your own melodies and just get started with it, simple is better.
Yep.
Simple is better.
And I agree. And I think even the bass notes, like if you guys are into like chakras and stuff like that, it's just simple notes. It's like seven or 8 notes. It just follows the note pattern of everything, and it's this. It's just doing this. It's so funny. Oh my gosh, just doing something simple like that, and then finding what you want to do after that. Like usually a lot of people, like they'll tell me, I tell them to do that scale. Just keep doing it over and over, and they're like, I'm getting bored. And I go, well, do something different.
Yeah, well, actually, I love it. But I really liked your suggestion on emoting different with the same thing. Do it with happy, sad, angry, whatever.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Actually, I think that's really good.
Be sad. Be happy.
Yeah, because that makes you discover that there is more to these notes than just playing the notes.
Yeah. The different levels. Like, actually, she said in here, there's... Okay, actually, we'll go into that, too. So I wanted to...
Daniel was learning a song called Quando 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 recently, and you might know that song.
Yes.
And then I tried playing it on the handpan, but I don't quite have all of the notes. So while you're looking that up, I'm just thinking about...
No, go.
And then I realized I could kind of play it on the handpan. So I changed the octave there.
Yeah.
And that's almost right. It's supposed to go up to a D, not to a C. But the idea is, like, you can kind of make your own arrangement of that song. So if you do hear a song in the radio and you want to try to emulate it, you can get close. And some people, if I played that on a street corner, they might say to themselves, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. It might not be exact, but again, it's your arrangement. You're not maybe trying to make it a perfect emulation of what somebody else is doing. So enjoy what you're doing, create your own arrangement, and be satisfied with it. Don't tell yourself, oh, there's that one note that's wrong. I'm doing it wrong.
Oh, that's where everybody. Actually, it's funny because I always go back to skateboarding, and skateboarding, like, kids would come up to me like, how do I get better, or what's the first thing I need to learn? I'm like, you need to learn how to fall.
Yeah, right.
And they just don't realize that. And I don't want to fall. I go, well, you don't want to skateboard. Because it's the main thing. And I think in music, we're so integrated with being so right. Like that needs to sound this way.
Yeah.
You know, it has to go in this order, that we don't explore what's actually possible. And, you know, I love the can stuff, but it's just, there's way more. There's way more.
And it also reminds me of, let's say you're learning a new language. If I'm learning Japanese or German or something like that, and I went to that country and I started speaking what I'd learned, they would all get a little smile on their face and they'd be like, oh, American.
Yeah.
Because he's got an American accent.
Yeah.
I'm using the words, right? And maybe I get a couple words wrong or get them mixed up. They understand it. But I have an accent.
Yeah.
So does anybody get mad at me for having an accent? No one cares. And actually, usually what happens is they kind of like it.
Yeah. Because
So,
they're like, you gotta say it like this.
So that's why that's the way I think about arrangements too, right? So what I was saying earlier, like if even if you don't have all the correct notes, or if you get it close to something that you've heard, most people are going to appreciate it. And be like, oh, that's cool, you know,
that's funny you say it on different languages, because as I travel, the reason I get the word right is because I listen to the sound. I don't actually say it. I just sing it the way they say it.
Right.
And then when I get it, I'm all, I don't even know what I said.
Right. Well,
and they do go, oh, you sound like Tuscan, and I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Nice.
So that's where the accent comes, because it's the singing of that.
Right. Yeah.
It's so crazy. Wow. But here, actually, this is the 4 healing properties of song or melodies, okay? 1 is opening. It's basically if you have like a closed heart, you're tight, you feel burdened, okay? The medicine of melody allows you to release those burdens that you hold on to your hearts. When you feel bad, sing a song.
Wait,
right?
Say that one more time.
Okay. The medicine of melody allows a release of the burdens that we hold in our hearts. Heaviness is transferred to lightness as you can use melodies to transfer those and open yourself up because you're being tight, right? There's also empowering. Let's see, melody empowers our energies, our truth, our authentic voice. So those melodies like that you make up, it's like empowering because it gives you confidence. I can sing my song, which is awesome. Remembering. Just reminiscing on life. Like actually, when I did my 100 songs, what I didn't realize, like these are all the songs that I enjoyed playing over time. So it was like my book of life songs, the melodies and everything that I love to do. Because I didn't sing songs I didn't like. You know what I mean? It was songs that I liked. It was rad. And then soothing. A peaceful melody played softly slowly creates a comfort and calm for a restless heart. And that's one of the big things that the handpan can do. Like you can come home and just do the scale. I know life is stressed right now, and just doing this and focusing on it, and you're just playing melodies. And it's funny because if you just go into that like that and just like kind of play it just keep on doing that. One, we tend to get bored, I guess, or you start to feel your melody and you start messing with these melodies as you play along it. I'm just staying on the melody or the scale, but just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, adding time or space. And that's just playing the scale up and down, and that was just a made-up song.
So literally when you were just doing that and you were coming back down and you said you could give it some space, you could just play these simple things, I was actually starting to get captivated. I was kind of like, oh, what's he doing? Wow, what is he doing? Yeah. And yet, literally on an intellectual level, you're also starting to think, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Interesting, like what notes are you selecting? Oh, that's kind of cool, interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone does it differently.
Yeah. And I wasn't even thinking of the notes I was selecting. I was just moving and listening to the sound.
It's like a brain game.
Yeah,
Your brain is trying to interpret, trying to figure out what's coming next.
Yeah.
And it's just interested in the whole thing. So when you do those little changes and stuff like that, your brain is like all totally turned on. Like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, once we get into the silence, I'll show you how that works with the melodies, because I think once you do leave the space, then it provides the energy for whatever melody is coming next. But you have to space it. You have to listen and then go, and then it'll tell you like what to do next, which is awesome. So, and that's like part of it. Like we talked about rhythm on the last one, and then going into the melody, finding your heart song. And one of the things, once you start feeling yourself, you get in touch with your fingers, then the melodies start coming. And I find myself doing this all the time. I'll be like, ha ha, like I'll hear like a beat or something like that, like the toaster. They're toasting in the morning, and I would sit there and go, and then I start beating off of that, and then my voice starts to come out. I was like, and then I started like just singing. I don't know. It's just like I start hearing these things, and I'm like, I'm watching myself do this, and it's hilarious because I'm full of music right now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, discovering your melodies on the handpan is awesome. Anything else on that? Because I think there's some comments. But.
Oh, comments! Look at that.
Yeah.
At least one. I think it's Amy.
Let's see. Ari Viraga, how do you use vibrato on a handpan similar to vibrato on a cello or a violin?
Okay.
That's a great question. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's a little technical, a little bit nuanced, a little difficult, but yeah, on a cello you can create vibrato by moving your finger up and down the string just a little bit, so it makes it go sharp and flat, sharp and flat, sharp and flat, just a little bit. Same thing with our voice, we can like that, make the vibrato go up and down. Some people have a real natural vibrato. I don't personally have a very natural vibrato. My wife's got a lovely vibrato. Mine just kind of comes out plain and straight, and I kind of force it, but on a handpan, the only way you can kind of bend the notes is just on a few of them that I've found. You can't really bend the high notes just because the metal is so small that it doesn't really bend much. The notes that are the larger notes, they tend to bend more, so you can kind of get those dipping sounds. So you can hear how I'm pushing down here on this little spot, and you can hear how that one harmonic is going wee 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 wee, right? So I can get it there. I can kind of push over here, and I'm activating the octave now. So I'm getting a little bit of a vibrato there. On these side notes, I found that sometimes I roll my thumb on the edge like this.
Oh yeah.
Get a little bit of vibrato there. Same thing over here sometimes on the C.
It's basically you're pressing the metal.
Yeah, I'm
and
rolling my
like,
thumb from the edge into the note just a little bit, basically just causing it to distort that note just a little bit. So you can do that. Another way of vibrato is getting the harmonics. Sometimes you get harmonics.
Yeah. Or just wave it.
Like that.
Yeah.
And what you're doing there is you're taking the sound that's coming out of the handpan using the Doppler effect.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you're moving.
I don't know that, but
yeah.
It sounds good.
One direction, you're moving the sound faster towards you, right? So it goes higher.
Doppler effect.
And then when you move your hand the opposite direction, it's moving the sound away from you.
Yes.
Which makes it sound lower. So then you're using at that point, you're using all the physics and all that craziness of how that sound gets into your ear. But a lot of that waving motion that you see sometimes handpan players do, that's how they're getting some of that vibrato effect. But again, so that's a way of doing it with air.
Yeah.
And then there's the way physically moving the note. And it works on some notes better than other notes. Like these notes work pretty well, this note works pretty well. When you get up here, it doesn't usually typically work very well because the notes get to be smaller and they don't bend very much.
Yeah.
But that's the best I got for vibrato.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I actually, it's funny because I use, unconsciously, I kind of use those things, you know what I mean? Like when I hit a note and I actually do this, and then what I find is that my motion, my hand's on the thing, and it's actually moving the handpan, so you can actually...
Oh yeah, you can. Definitely.
Yeah,
especially if you have like a microphone or something like that.
Yeah, and just move it, and just But honestly, the easiest way is just to wave it.
Yeah.
So even that smaller note, you can get it, and you're just kind of, it's like you're shaking, but everything's shaking because you're providing that vibration. So the handpan is very sensitive, I would say. Yeah, that, you can do that and do little movements like that and really like get a vibrato if you want to. like what I find, like as I'm cruising through the melodies and stuff, I don't know, for some reason I can feel the note. Like I can move it, and you know, I've done that before where I'm like, here, watch this, catch this, and like I'll do like a, and then I'll just move it and I'll just throw it at people, and they're like, whoa, what did you just do? But that's like, you know, that you can use, I guess, how did that work with melodies? I guess that's the melody that you make and then you just throw it at people. It's the vibration. I don't know.
Sure.
But it's funny because I've had that happen to me with, what's his name from Hawaii? Abria, yeah, when he was in here and he was doing his thing. And that was the first time I felt the handpan and he pushed it, like felt the energy or those vibrations. I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's see, where else were we? Where do melodies come from? We said language. We talked about, where else are we? I'm kind of lost right now.
I don't remember, but I see the next thing on our list is discovering melodies on your handpan.
Oh yeah. So hey.
Oh well, you were reading out of the book. You were talking about the emotion of.
Oh yeah, just the emotion.
The soothing. I think the
yeah,
soothing.
the soothing.
Part.
If you guys get it, there's a lot more information here that we cannot go over in this, and there's
too much.
There's just way too much, and I'm just trying to touch on the basis of it. And basically, it's just one, rhythm, get in touch with your body. Two, melodies. You're finding you have a song that you want to sing, and you have melodies on the handpan that you can bring out. One of the things I've been seeing a lot is like there's certain type of style. Mm-hmm. Like people try to emulate like different players and stuff like that, which is cool. Sometimes I feel like they get stuck in that though, and they don't discover their own melodies, which is more beautiful to me is seeing somebody else, you know, their melodies, and discovering melodies on the handpan. Honestly, what it talks about in this book is just making sure that you know the scale. Every time I get on the pan, that's all I do. Is like every pan and it helps me like to kind of judge the sound of a pan because I just have that scale. Every pan has it, you know what I mean? And then you just go over that melody, and then from that point, now you can discover the melodies that you want to. In the practice that I've showed you, you know, single notes, double notes, triple notes. Find the ones that kind of fit with you, and then you can play all of those just by itself. And that's just how I felt at that moment, which is awesome. You know what I mean? And it, you know, and then whatever you're trying to feel, like those 4 healing things, openings, you know, those different ways that you can use those melodies, it depends on your situation. You know, sometimes people are feeling they need to open up, so they use the handpan to open up. Yeah. Or, you know, you're feeling kind of melancholy, and this just energizes you for the day, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, it's amazing what you can do with the handpan, even though it has minimal notes. And hello, we're on a live show right now. If you go, hold on for a minute, we're almost done. Okay. We have customers coming in. But that's what I love about the handpan is discovering these different melodies, because I've been playing for about like 3 years, and I'm getting more and more, you know, more things. Even though this one right here is just 8 notes, right? But just think of all the combinations that you have and all the different techniques that you can do, and like all the combinations of that.
I was going to say that one of the caveats to the melodies and everything we've been talking about today is you do have to some degree, learn some technique in order to emote or create the melodies that you want to convey to your audience or to yourself. So for instance, like I was talking about the vibrato, I was using some techniques there to create those the sounds out of the instrument, like you were talking about with the rhythmic stuff. you've got to kind of come up with the technique of learning how to do that
Yes,
before you
exactly.
can really use it to create a melody. But some of the simplest stuff, where you just use the basic technique of just touching the notes and creating a sound, yeah, you can do exactly like what you're saying. You just take that simple scale and then just kind of mix it up a little bit, come up with something that pleases you. Another thing I was going to suggest, what was it? Oh, I was going to say, like, sometimes when I get done working on a drum, I'm kind of tired and fatigued a little bit. So that's when I want to just calm myself down a little bit and just be more meditative about it. And like I said last week or whatever it was, some of my favorite notes are these notes right here. I love playing those notes.
Yeah.
So I might just cruise out on those notes. And it just makes you feel good after a while. You're like, oh, I'm just trying to settle myself down. I was kind of stressed out with working. Not so much stress, but like if I was engaged in working for a long period of time, you're trying to unwind,
Yes,
right? So it's not like you're stressed, like in a bad way. It's just you've been really highly activated and you're trying to slow down a little bit. So I might just use those simple notes over and over again and just not try to do too much and just listen to it drift a little bit. So I love it. It's just really just simple stuff. And just kind of settles you down and makes you mellower and just relaxes you.
It's so nice.
On another level, though, sometimes, let's say I'm really super excited about something. I'll walk in and I'll be like, I'm just like playing all these notes down. That kind of thing, and having all sorts of fun, playing faster. So it all depends. You can use this instrument in multiple ways to kind of create ways that either relax you, excite you. And again, a little bit of technique, but for the most part, it's just experiencing the drum and kind of getting to know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll share with you one thing on what I do after I do it. Like, so if I do the scale, the first thing I do is I do it really slow. Like, this is slow. I wait till it goes down. And that's my first one, because I want to like clear everything out. And then the next one is I'll go as fast as I can and I'll bring it back down. And then after that, then I'll just play I'll play the scale.
Oh, like ad-lib a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm on the scale.
Yeah.
Just single notes.
By the
Just
way,
practice that.
when
And
you
just
play
single
that-
notes. Yeah.
When you play that high note, the expression on your face was like joy, joy,
Yeah.
joy.
Daniel.
Yeah. And again, it almost looked like you were singing it.
Yeah. Actually, if you guys haven't checked out, if you guys are into flutes, I did a live show with Miguel Medina the other day, and he was talking about what did you say?
Oh, like singing it or
Yeah, singing it. Oh, actually, he has backing tracks. Oh, you
yeah.
gotta listen to this. It's so cool. We're gonna do this though. We're gonna do a handpan backing track, so it's gonna be awesome. So you can play along. And he did one, and he had a singer on there. I think his name was Jason. And Jason was just, they were playing the handpan and he was doing this. And he was kind of like voicing, like doing that type of thing. And then Miguel said, all I heard was the starlight is falling. And then like I just go, what? I go, you heard that? And he's like, yeah, that's what I heard. Like, and I was just, and that's why I called the song Falling, because it was like stars fall. Like I think he said that in his thing, and I just go, wow. And how you were talking about when we speak those what was
intervals or just the rhythm of the highs and lows.
And we don't realize that we're actually singing. It's sick. It's super cool. So I love that. Actually, Dave, I learned so much from that just now. So cool. So I think that's all we have for you guys today.
I think that sums it up.
Yeah, I think that sums it up. If you guys don't have any questions, this is an open discussion, but we have that out there, the 4 principles of music: rhythm, melody, harmony, and silence. Okay, we talked about rhythm. To me, it's like practice getting in tune with your body. Okay, and that's one of the things for instruments I think you have to do. Like, you have to get in tune with your body. The second one is melody. You have a song you want to sing. You have to learn the language of music, which is awesome. And next week, or the next couple weeks, we're going to talk about harmony. That's fun. And then we'll talk about silence. And that's all about, it's funny, silence, it sounds like it should be simple, but it really isn't. But that's where all the energy is actually in the silence. So should we leave them with some good melodies today? And then if you guys, I don't see any more questions. Actually,
there's something.
One question. Thanks, Dave and Daniel. This is Vince Brooks. Great to meet you. You're doing a fantastic service, and we appreciate it.
Thanks, Vince. Yeah, Vince was just here right before we started the show.
Oh, yeah, he was.
So thanks for checking in, Vince.
Yeah, he was just here. That was awesome. So,
all sorts of fun.
All right, cool. We're gonna do some melodies and leave you with some good melodies. You guys can play along if you guys have a D minor handpan, because all these handpans go together, and you get to see an Aris go with a Luna. This is just a regular Luna, and you have an Aris 12.
Yep.
So
Aris 12,
and you can hear the different sounds of those. And actually, one more comment. Let's see. I see something coming. Thanks for the presentation. There it is. All right, let's go.
I'm playing the Daniel song. You can riff on the Daniel song.
I'm totally good.
Daniel, 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 Daniel. 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 Daniel, 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 Daniel.
I love Dave singing my name. That's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Very cool.
All right, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy your melodies. Find your song and live life like Dave. You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you guys in the next couple weeks. Have a good one.
See you next time. Thanks.
Bye.
Gotta click the button.
Click the button. Finish. Boom.